Good evening, each and everyone. Today, I am Dr. Leena, going to welcome each and everyone on behalf of Tradepreneur Global Academic Platform, UK. So, we are here to every day we are discussing about different goal about sustainable development. So today we are going to discuss about goal 11, sustainable city and community. So we are having two experts. Before that, I like to warm welcome about our eminent person, so many person from other country, that is Dr. Reshmi from India, then another sir, Dr. Sir, and so many person, Asina from Turkey, so many person are there. We are all welcome you on behalf of Tradepreneur Global Academic Platform. So welcome you, sir, each and everyone. So today I'm going to invite Dr. Rajkumar Singh. He is going to deliver the lecture about sustainable city and communities. That is goal number 11. So Dr. Rajkumar Singh, he completed his schooling from Kendra Vidyalaya, India, and he completed BSc Hons, that is Institute of Science, then MBA from BHU, then he completed his PhD. Then he's having 20 years experience in academic, as well as he's having more number of year experience in industry side. He's a member of various academic institutions like NAC, graded organization. He's an editorial board for various organization, MDP cell, startup, so on. It is going on innovation, so many things. He published lot of papers. He's a member of international startup mentor team. So many we can't able to explain. If I'm going to explain means it will take another one day to expand. He explained about each and everything. Welcome you, sir, now for this Tradepreneur Global Academic Platform. Sir, it is for you. You can explain. Thank you, sir. Sir, it is mic. It is muted.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Dr. Leena, for such a beautiful introduction. And thanks to Rashmi ma'am for inviting me in this great conference, Professor Hanita Nagy, and my dear, very respected Professor Burhan, who is here. So thanks to all of you. Really, it's a great platform, and I'm coming for the second time on this platform. And thanks to all the organizing team members, including the chairman, CEO of Tradepreneurs Global Academic Platform, for organizing such kind of conferences on a very pertinent topic. So, as Dr. Leena has said, that today we have the derivation on the sustainable cities and communities, which is the UN Sustainable Goal, Development Goal 11. Once Charles Darwin has said a very important thing, that survival of the fittest, what his philosophy was that. You will only survive when you are fittest. You change yourself with time. You adapt yourself with time. And in this COVID era from last 1 year or more, we have learning these things. And the only solution which is in front of us is to develop the immunity. Only our immunity can save us. Whether it's a vaccine or some other measures, only the immunity development is the way. And that's why, especially in India, people are moving towards our ancient science of life, that is Ayurveda. In Charak Samhita, one of the oldest texts of Indian Ayurveda, there is a Sanskrit verse, shloka, which says, Dharmartha kam mokshanam arogyam moolamuttamam. The meaning of this is the health is the most important thing to perform your duty, to earn money, salvation. So that's why health is in the core. And we have to think in this entire conference in the direction of the availability of the primary health, primary education, fundamental requirement of a human being. The most sad situation is this, that still we are discussing on the people's basic facilities, home, food, clothes, education, roads, electricity, sanitation, cleanliness, waste management, malnutrition, increasing of the population, and the social harmony, especially in the developing and underdeveloped countries. See, once Mahatma Gandhi has said that the earth is having enough resource for our need, but not for our greed. So we have to think from that time that what is the result of our greed? What is the negative aspect of our greed? So what we have done actually? We have done the urban development in an unplanned manner. On the cost of cutting tree, we are purchasing the oxygen cylinder and we are cutting the tree, which is the giver of the oxygen to us. So cutting the forest and creating the concrete jungle, this is the phenomenon of development. We have to develop. There is no way to escape from that. But what should be the direction of development? This is what we have to understand. On the name of development, what we are facing today. I will share few data with you. It is expected, and that again by the United Nations, that by 2030, India will have 7 mega cities with population over 10 million. I'm talking in terms of the Indian context. 13% of the urban household at present are not having the sanitation project. 31% lives in the urban areas. 62 million tons per annum waste is generated in cities. So these are few of the things which compel us to understand where we are going. Population is not under control. And when population will increase, the burden on the earth will also increase. So many goals has been decided under the Sustainable Development Goal, especially by 2030 to provide access to safe, affordable, and accessible sustainable transport system for all. By 2030, enhancing and inclusion of the sustainable urbanization capacity for participatory way. Here I live in Varanasi in India. People have enclosed even the river Ganga, and now they are making their houses in Ganga. So how you can save? You are not saving your, the rivers. You are not saving your villages. How we can think of the sustainable urbanization? There is another target 11.4 to strengthen the efforts to protect and safeguard the world's culture and natural heritage. Again, here we are not taking care of that. In target 11.5, it is mentioned that by 2030, we have to significantly reduce the number of deaths and number of people affected and substantially decrease the direct economic losses related to the global gross domestic product caused by the disaster. But when you are unbalancing the entire planet, how you can check the disaster? Recently in Uttarakhand, north of India, we have found so many such incidents, the glaciers has broken and all these things. So these are few of the phenomena. Majorly this entire 11 goal of sustainable development, if you summarize it, it is to support the links urban and peri-urban and rural areas. This is one part which is related with the connection of these three dimensions. to increase the adoption cities by integrated policies. Another one is to support the LDC building, resilient buildings. Again, the green architecture importance is there. To ensure the access safe and housing services. To provide access sustainable transport. So now Tesla has also announced to come in India. So we are hoping that with this disrupting innovation of the electric car, Tata has also announced that, okay, they will also start manufacturing the electric car. So we can think in that direction. To enhance the inclusive and sustainable urbanization that we have discussed earlier, and to protect and safeguard the culture and nature heritage. See how we have disturbed our culture and natural heritage that I will discuss later on, because earlier in Hindu mythology and culture, there has always been a worship of the nature. And when we have discussed the nature, we have actually given a sort of emotional attachment that on the name of religion, at least you protect the nature. Then to reduce the death and losses due to disaster, to reduce per capita city environmental impact that is reducing day by day, and to provide access green public space. So if you go to any metropolitan cities, now the concrete jungle is increasing, growing, mushrooming day by day. One of the research report I was studying a few weeks back, it has mentioned that due to the global warming, normally we know that trees emit the oxygen more and carbon dioxide less. But there is a furious report that with the globalization, the phenomena is changing and the emission of the carbon dioxide and oxygen is either equal, and if this will happen for a longer period of time, the carbon dioxide emission will be more and oxygen emission will be less. So you can just understand, we are talking about the plantation and all these things. What will happen? So this is a sort of environmental vicious circuit. We need to do more and more environmental audit, that whether trees are actually there or it is just on the papers. So I was just talking you about the ancient Indian spiritual aspect about the nature. There is a Shanti Sloka, one verse in Yajurveda. What that verse is, that, and then I will translate in English also, that Om Deho Shanti, Rantariksha Shanti, Prithibhe Shanti, Rapaha Shanti, Roshadaya Shanti, Vanaspataha Shanti, Vishwadeva Shanti, Brahma Shanti, Sarva Shanti, Shanti Reva Shanti, Sama Shanti Redi, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So what is the meaning? That may the peace and harmony transmit there in the entire sky, which we are disturbing through the air pollution. May peace and harmony transmit there in the entire space and universe. May peace and harmony transmit there with all the Dev and Brahma. And may peace and harmony transmit there in the water. We are doing the water pollution. All trees, we are cutting the trees and living creature. Because in that entire environmental system, as per the Indian spiritual system, if you go to the Veda, no god was worshipped. There the worship was of the trees, river, sky. We don't see river Ganges, we say Mata Ganga. Ganga is like our mother. Trees. Neem, in earlier days, in front of every home in village, those who belong to the village, always there was a tree of neem, tree of Baragat, and people, they were worshipped. Sky, fire, Agni Devata, sky, Varuna Devata, air, water, sea, even the sea has been treated as a god. And today we know, with the plastic, we have polluted the entire sea now, and cow. So what is that? That was the worship of nature. So on the name of religion, actually we were trying to protect the nature. But when we talk everything on the basis of logic, the faith has reduced, and this is what we are saying. Because see, in Indian spiritual system, there was a provision of ashram, The entire life was divided into 4 parts. It was assumed that the man age is of 100 years. So 25 years they have to live in a brahmacharya ashram, means you have to study the things. Then next 25 years, from 25 to 50 years, you have to be in the grihasthashram, means you marry, you have a family, you develop that family, you flourish that family. And then from 50 to 75, there was a vanaprasthashram, means you have to go to the forest for meditation. You have to keep yourself aloof from the materialistic dimension. And from 75 to 100 years, it was a sannyasashram, means you have a self-actualization. So if you divide this 50 years, later on this 50 years, where will you spend? There is no forest, there is no tree. So see, if you disturb the peace of the nature will disturb our peace. And this is what is happening, because nature balances everything. We should learn so many things. So far as urbanization is concerned, there is an ancient civilization, the Indus Valley civilization. You must have heard that was a civilization lying in India. Now it's a part of Pakistan, and some part is still located in some part of India. The Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, they were basically the urban civilization. If you study that, they were having the excellent town planning, super sewage system, super drainage system, without contaminating the Indus River. And now we are contaminating the river, nearby river, River Ganga. You see, no congested township was there. And that was the world's first urban sanitation system. In the Indus Valley civilization, it is called as the first urban sanitation system. We should learn from that. How scientifically it was made. Each road and street crossed at right angle, 90 degree, to have a maximum flow of air to clean the city through its grid pattern. That was a grid pattern urbanization. Now we are making the houses here and there without any planning. Proper trees were there for superb oxygen supply in the city. This is what the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilizations town planning was that. So when we are talking about the Sustainable Development Goal 11, we need to think from that direction, that what our ancestry was, what our heritage was, what our culture was, and what we are today. But see, what is the problem? Now we are having an unbalance between the developed environment and entire this triple helix. If you see the triple P bottom line approach, that people, planet, and profit. From very beginning, we have been trained that development means you have to earn the profit. But what happened? We have neglected the planet, and ultimate effect will be on the people, that is on us. So we have to go from that angle, because see, what should be our approach? Profit is must. If you have to run an organization, profit is must. Without profit, you cannot run the organization. But what should be the motto of that profit? Now the CSR activities has been involved to utilize that profit for elimination of the waste, create a value addition in the life of the people, and to recognize that there is an interdependence. We say we are independent. No, we are interdependent. We have to depend on each other. Because what is the demand of planet? They just say that there should be a smooth flow of energy. Nature should not be disturbed. And there should be a proper way of human and nature coexistence. In Sanskrit, we say saha astitva, means the existence of both are important, the nature and the human being. And for that, what we have to do? We have to share the knowledge with people, as like this conference is being going on. We have to accept the responsibility. Every time we think that the responsibilities of the government, we say society is very bad. We are the society. We constitute the society. Society is nothing in aloof, nothing in isolation. We are part of the society. And this is our responsibility, joint responsibility. And here I would like to mention one thing, that when we talk of India, it doesn't mean it's only India. The entire world is connected. If carbon emission will be more in X country, the effect will be on the Y country also. So we have to understand what the climatic changes dimensions are there. What is the governance of the sustainability? And most important, the corporate citizenship concept has to be there. See, I always suggest to my students that Okay, so many things we say in the conferences and seminars and classes. Just do one thing, that on your birthday, you plant a tree and take care of it. If average 4-member family is there, every year four plantation will be there. A country like India, we are having a 130 crore population, just multiply by 4. So you can understand how much we can do. Every country, every citizen thinks in this direction. No doubt, there is an emerging importance of the green architecture, the vertical gardening, vertical farming, organic farming. We are talking about that. But one thing is sure, that the basic issue which now we are observing everywhere in the world is of water. Zero water cities in the world are emerging. Whether you take the example of the Cape Town or Sao Paulo, even in Delhi, Bangalore, Beijing, Cairo, Jakarta, Istanbul, Mexico, maximum countries are now moving towards that. We need to work on the water harvesting part, groundwater recharging part, because as we are seeing here in Varanasi, also the Ganga is getting narrowing down. Ponds and wells are covered for this urbanization. This is not. So we have to adopt that 3R approach of reduce, reuse, and recycle, especially for the plastic and the toxic inputs for the domestic environment. And so many, not only what happens when we talk about the organic farming, it is presumed that this is very costly. The products are very costly because we don't have the economies of scale. We don't have large scale of production. Here, one case study I would like to say just in 1 minute, that one guy, Mr. Kaushland, I would like to take the name. He has been graduated from IIM Ahmedabad, and he belongs to Patna, one capital of the Bihar state of India. And he started Kaushalya Foundation for organic farming through the organic fertilizers of fruit and vegetables. And at present, 35 to 40,000 families from Bihar and Jharkhand are growing that and supplying that on the home-to-home basis at par with the cost. So this we have to understand, that if the economy of scale we can do through the cooperative, this can be achieved. This is not a very difficult task for us. Pollution level is increasing. In Delhi, we are seeing fuel worth 60,000 crore is wasted annually due to the heavy traffic congestion. Rashmi ma'am has been there in Delhi, so she must be knowing well about that. Traffic congestion at Delhi road cost around $10 billion, about 60,000 crore annually. So due to such kind of unplanned aspects, problems are there. Civic responsibility has to be understood, because we are having a dual standard of cleanliness. We clean our home, but we pollute our city, pollute our colonies and all these things. I think we should educate our children when they are in school. We should provide them a small project so that they can understand, because see, they have to become the future citizen of the country. And when they will realize the things that, okay, this is important, then they will not have the dual standard, for their home separate standard and for others separate standards. So these are few of the aspects which I feel. One thing which I would like to mention, that now in the COVID phase, I have seen that this hospital waste management has become a big issue. As we all know, for treatment of COVID, PP kits and other hospital waste are being there. And due to the unplanned way, this is a great danger for the life of the people because of increase of infection. So we need to work in that direction. We are having an ISO certification of 14001:2015 for the environmental management system. I think this should not be only for the industry, but for the localities also, where one can think of this direction. But problem is that when we talk about the green technology, green entrepreneurship, who is going to do this? Obviously the entrepreneurs, obviously the industry people. So any government should come forward to help them, not only on the promotional aspect, but also on the triple helix model by adopting academia, government and industry. They should work together for research in that direction. Because what is happening today, academia is doing work, in different island, industry is doing work in different island, government is making policy in different island. There is a lack of interconnectivity. Thank God, in the new National Education Policy of India, there is a concept of the foundation, National Research Foundation, but hope something will be done in that direction. Emerging scope of the clean technology is there. Solar energy, the wind energy, then for the green transportation, green chemistry, all these things are emerging areas for the green entrepreneurs. They should think in that direction and try to understand what exactly the one has to understand as an entrepreneur that uh, uh, we don't sell the product, we don't sell the services. Basically, we sell the solution. And getting rid of all these things, this unorganized planning and all these things, we have to work on developing such kind of solution that how we can provide a proper solution through the technological feasibility, its business viability, and the usability and desirability of the human value system by following the design thinking process to understand, to emphasize the aspect, to define the issues, to ideate it, to develop a proper prototype in the clean technology area, test in the market what is the result which is coming on, and then implement it. So these are few of the things. And last, I will say two things that India, we are having a true concept. The Vasudha Kutumbakam means the entire world is like a family, and Vishwa Bandhutva means the universal brotherhood. So we used to have one shloka that Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Nirama, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashid Dukh Bhavu. May all be happy, may all be free from the infirmities, may all see God, and may none take the suffering. This is very important because we don't want to just protect the environment. We want to create a world where the environment does not need protection. It should be a natural way of life. So thank you very much for providing me this great opportunity and giving me a chance to express my views in front. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Rajkumar, sir. Sir, explain about Sustainable Development Goal 11. It's about sustainable city and communities, and it is one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goal established by United Nations General Assembly in 2015. So the goal 11 is to make city inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Sir explained about why this 11 is very, very important. Sir explained the opportunities for the higher education and employment. That is the why Sustainable Development Goal 11. Make cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. It is very, very important. So thank you, sir. Thanks for providing various input to our tradepreneurs. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Students, do you have any questions? Any question? Okay. So today we are having another person that is called as Dr. Sana Malik. Madam, it is about she is an academic trainer and 9 years of teaching and research experience in various organizations, and she is currently working as an assistant professor at University of Management and Technology, Pakistan. She completed her Bachelor of Architecture from School of Art and Design, University of Engineering and Technology from Pakistan. She completed her MSc Housing, School of Housing, Building and Planning from University Sains Malaysia. She completed her PhD program from School of Housing, Building and Planning from University Sains Malaysia. She received a lot of awards. She is in various editorial board member in various organizations throughout the world. She is having an expertise in consultancy and professional acknowledgement like She is appointed as a member of Policy Think for Zone Specific Guidelines by Naya Pakistan Housing and Development Authority. She completed, she's having lot of funded uh, housing grant. Then she completed short-term consultant from World Bank Housing Project titled that is Pakistan Supply Side Scan and Effective Demand Analysis of Major Housing Market. Really a great eminent person. Now she is an acting director for Housing Research Center, University of Management and Technology, Lahore, Pakistan. Then she's having soft skill experience. That means she is very expert in LMS, WebEx, Microsoft, QSR, EndNote, and ERP. She published various articles in ISI publication, Scopus indexed, and HEC recognized publication, and so many papers published with indexed publication. Now, we welcome you, Sana Malik, for our platform. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. You can hear me clearly, right? So you have given, me such a great and nice introduction to my name. I was not, having that. I have done so much in my little career. So I would be, can I share my presentation today?
Sure, ma'am.
So I would be, yeah. So as Dr. Leena has already introduced me myself, so I would be directly jumping into the content of my today's presentation as a keynote speaker for the Sustainable Development Goal 11. My presentation would be covering a little bit about shelter, how it is its basic need, and the introduction to the SDG 11 and how housing is a collaborative framework. Plus, I will be sharing some findings from my PhD study, which includes the appraisal of low-income housing projects in Punjab. And then I will be presenting the sustainable model from the past in the context of low-income housing delivery. So to begin with, we all know that the world is all about change. Change is the only thing that is constant. And our cities are changing, and this is the biggest reality which we cannot deny. And if you see the both images, you can see this is an image of a Manhattan, which was, when humans were not there, it was very green. But when the humans, started to living there and, urbanization was happened rapidly. So we see a lot of, concrete blocks in high volumes spreading over the cityscape. So we all know this, that more than 50% of our global population lives in urban areas, and because of this we have 70% global energy emissions as well. So it is very important that we should be planning that our development and our urbanization should not put the sustainability notion at the at the extent people started suffering from it rather than considering it as a blessing. uh, as we all know, this is needs, everyone needs shelter. Besides shelter, other basic needs involve food, water, and clothing. And why shelter? Out of all of this, why shelter is the only one that covering all of this basic needs? Because in a home you need water, you have a washroom. In a home you have a kitchen where you prepare meals for yourself. You have a laundry area where you wash your clothes and you sleep in. You live in. You have a living room. So this is very important, and it is going to define your health, your lifestyle, in terms of social, economic, cultural, and physical attributes. It defines your identity and it defines your well-being. So it is very important that shelter must be provided to every income group, regardless it is low, middle, and or urban poor. So what is SDG 11? SDG 11 is a very broader terminology because in sustainable cities and communities, it covers 7 basic components. Number one is safe and affordable housing. Second is affordable and sustainable transport systems. Third is inclusive and sustainable urbanization. Fourth is protecting the world's cultural and natural heritage. Fifth is reducing the adverse effects of natural disasters. Sixth is to reduce the environmental impact of cities. And seventh is to provide safe access to safe and green public spaces. So I will be going in detail about the goal number one, sub goal one, that is safe and affordable housing in context of Pakistan. So if we see our overall profile of Pakistan, its current population is now it will be around more than 180 million, and there is an increase of 33% in Pakistan's total population every year. And it is predicted that it is going to reach 380 million by 2050. How is housing is being delivered and how it is being provided to, and how it is being produced? It is a collaborative framework. It takes time, it takes funding, it takes planning, and it takes commitment from many groups, which involves developers, government authorities, builders, planners, architects, banks. Every sector is involved in the production of a housing project. According to Habitat 3, which introduced the new urban agenda, and it says that housing should enhance the capital formation, income, employment generation, savings, and it must contribute to the driving sustainable and economic transformation at all levels. It involves national, subnational, and local levels. So it's in the notion of sustainability, it should not leave behind one particular aspect. It should involve all the income groups from the society. And it's a collaborative framework. And if we work together for the low income housing, especially making it affordable to the low income groups, then it can be easily achieved. So I will be providing the post-occupancy evaluation of low-income housing projects in the Punjab. One is from Lahore, that is Ashiana Housing Project, and one is from Faisalabad city, which is the second largest city of Punjab. And then I will be presenting the model of sustainable delivery of low-income housing. So what criteria I put on to, appraise the low income housing projects? First, I, define some parameters which are similar in their nature, so I can cross check what has been, what is the model being adopted in the provincial level or in the local level for the low income housing delivery. So first, the housing unit size is very important. It should not be more than 3 marla. You can say that it is 1 marla is equal to 225 square feet. So you can divide yours, multiply. Then the project execution time period is very important. It must be executed within the last decade, that is 2000 to 2020. And then the ownership, there must be a variety. One must be from the ownership relates from the level of public, private, and social enterprises, which is from the NGOs. So the two projects, one is from public social housing, you can see in the general terminology, and one is from the NGO based housing project. Then an eligibility criteria was, kept another parameter, that the applicants which were included as eligible to apply for the housing unit were similar in their nature. Maybe their monthly installment and their monthly income should match. Last and not the least is the location parameter, that the project is the site location of the project must match with each other. That is, it should not be within the center of the city, because we don't see any projects. So I would like to have the similarity in the selection of both projects, and these both projects were in this outer area of the city. So first of my appraisal revolves around the application process. which is about the eligibility criteria, application process, and motivation for applying, and possession and ownership. So if we see the eligibility criteria, if we are going to start planning for the low income housing projects or affordable housing, because we relate the affordable most commonly with the low income group or urban group, because for them affordability is kind of difficult to manage. So what difficulties they have faced during this process, like they have down payment, they found the down payment was much higher in one of the project, and they also find out that monthly installment was also higher. Like if they are still living on the rental, then they are going to have manage the two installment at the same time. One is the monthly installment for the future housing unit, and one is the current rental amount which they are have to manage for the house they are living in. First, they also find it that the housing cost unit is not within the affordability. The government authorities have not planned it very well, and they must have did a more extensive financial analysis of the low income group, so that the cost of the housing project must come in within the affordability domain. So this is some of the properties that they talked about during the focus group discussions with the residents of these projects. Then they also find difficulties while applying for the project. Number one was the attitude of the government official was not a comfortable one, and they were more oriented towards the rent seeking. And because of this, they find it difficulty in dealing with the officials, because every time without bribe, they are not going to facilitate them. So this was the culture which was highlighted by them in the especially in the case of public housing project. Then income verification process, they also find it very difficult, because uh, the documentation was not proper, and the data banks of of the process of the applicants was not there, due to the whole system is not being digitalized, so it again delayed the project. And in some cases they further asked the applicants to provide the legal guarantee. Then I asked them also that what motivated them to apply for this project, if they were already living in a slum or squatter. So number one, they some of the participants said that they were shifting from another city, and they were planning to shift to Lahore. So they found it within the little bit affordability, although it was difficult for them to match, but that was the only option for them. Then they also mentioned about that their family size was increasing, and they wanted to move into a bigger home as compared to one room which they were living already. Then closeness and proximity to their business locations or employment also mentioned. And so since the commercialization of the housing project is so much, that this was the only project that they consider it within their affordability, although it was difficult for manage them, but this is was the only option for them. Then I also asked about them that how what were the experience regarding when they were actually getting the possession and ownership of the plot, when they are done with the uh, uh, payment and installments and everything. So in case of public housing project, which was in Lahore, Ashana housing project, they mentioned about that they delayed the construction, and because of some political conflicts. And then they didn't transfer the letter, they didn't transfer the property yet into the name of the applicant. And they are just lingering, and they are just delaying it furthermore. But in the case of the project which was from the NGO in another city, the good thing was this, that applicants were immediately giving the possession right after they made the down payment. So it was very convenient for them to avoid the another amount that they were paying already for the rental amount, rental, and then they are going to move in with their family. Number two is then I asked them that what is the difference they have feel about living in currently in their own house without the freedom from paying the rental. And so they, number one, said about the monthly rent that they are not worried about to pay every on the first of every month. They don't have to get worried that they have to pay the rent. Then yes, there is other thing that they have feeling of that they own this house. And physical environment was also very much better as compared to the area that they were living before. Some were from the slums, some from the squatters, and some were living in another city. And Lahore is little bit better from the previous living with them. So in this case, more of both projects were similar in the experience. Then in case of the design of the housing unit, they also showed some responses in terms of site selection. They thought that it is very far away from the city center, that they don't have much facilities like good hospitals. So it is very important that you must plan the projects for the low income groups with in the where they have all the infrastructural facility and the health facilities within the area. Then they also talked about that the plot size, the size of the land, the plot which were given to them is also less. They promised a bigger area, but during the application process, they changed the area in a case of public housing. They also talked about that they must have gone into the heights, like rather than just one story house. They must have gone into the 3 or 4 heights. And then they also told about the outdoor space, that the space which was given out in the passages can be used inside the house so that the rooms can be bigger. So then they also felt that infrastructural and social facilities were not much there. In case of public housing, because it is from the a political party which was in charge, so they felt that they promised different facility, and they didn't execute it in reality after they have shifted over there. So this was one of their concerns. And parks and hospitals are not well managed, they mentioned. Then in case of social enterprise project, which was in Faisalabad, they said that there is no availability of natural gas. Because of that, they have to keep on the artificial cylinders to keep going with the daily activities of cooking and other things. Again, in case of the construction quality, they didn't feel much satisfied. They felt that the poor building materials has been used and the wall finishes are not achieved in a well manner. Also, they find out that to reduce the cost of the unit, they shorten down the ceiling height. So this is some of the views that I took from the sites of the project. This is from the Safia Homes, Faisalabad. The community, environment was good over there, because they have a park of, after every in every block, and you can see which some of the participants talked about that it must have gone into 3 and 4 heights rather than on just one story. Then they were not participants of Ashana Public Housing in Lahore. They were not happy about the park facility. They felt that it is not well managed, and the swings and other facilities are not well maintained, and you can see from the image as well. So this is another image of the community park. So this was the point that they were talking about, that the outdoor area which they have given for the passage, they used it for the domestic use by self-covering itself and making this a part of their indoor environment in case of Lahore, which was the public project. In case of the Safia Homes, Faisalabad, their point also mentioned the same, that the front and the back passage must have utilized inside the home to make the bigger rooms. And they also pointed out about the central location of the kitchen, which going to make the other rooms hotter as well, because there is too much hot in Punjab, uh, like cities in Lahore and Faisalabad. So the construction quality, which I just mentioned before, that they said that this is not good enough, and you can see the wall cracks on all over the walls. Um, whenever you just little punch it, and you are see that the sand is start coming out of the line. In terms of the regulatory framework, both projects were saying that they felt that the state department, which was managing the project in case of Ashiana housing project in Lahore, there was lack of planning and VN, and they intended to win the political elections, and their purpose was not to really serve the low-income groups. And again, when they are going to put a complaint to the site office, there is a delayed response. Then they also saw the activities going on, taking in the name of the house owner, and then letting someone in living as a rental, so that you can make a profit. So and making the false narratives. So this was the appraisal of the projects which I have done. Now I will be sharing a review of sustainable model of low income housing. It has been done previously and it can be achievable. We just need to work on the intelligent planning just while going into the execution phase, and it is achievable and it has achieved in the past, but we don't I don't know, the intention to implement is not there in third world countries or whatever, but it has been done, and I'm very happy to share this model, Khuda Ki Basti, from Pakistan, which was done in 1980, late 1990 by the Tasneem Ahmed Siddiqui. So this sustainable model provides shelter to the extreme urban poor. And what people say, this was, making the beneficiary of the project at the center of the project planning, and where people, the residents, are going to pool their resources, and then they are going to build themselves their housing units so that they can, share the cost. And the good point of this model was that the homeless people were given immediate possession against the small down payment, and it was affordable to them. You can see a bigger aerial view of that project, and it has been done 3 decades ago, when there was not much notions about sustainability, and but intelligent planning can let you to do this. So, what about the eligibility criteria that they have, efficiently designed? That their applicants must have no property, and they must be the actual residents. So, if you are selected, you have to make sure that you are going to live in that area, and no space for the false applicants. And another good thing that they made sure that only head of the families are coming for the application, to show the serious attitude towards getting a possession of the housing unit. And they also made sure that their area is not less than 120 square feet. So the good point is that because the residents were actively involved in the construction of their own housing units, so they built their water and sanitation systems themselves. And and then the administration of the project was so much sincere to this project that they made sure they made collaborations with the NGOs and government sector, so that they can provide other allied facilities like clinics, schools, transportation systems. And further they also train the residents that how they can build improve their building skills. So some of the success factors which I want to show over there, that because it was a raw government land, so it was affordable. And then when they again after the land cost, when they worked on the construction costs, so they get to know that maybe it not be um, affordable by the residents. So they made them, available without any constructed housing unit. They just gave them the land, so that it is very easy for them to, construct the house with their own little amount, which they are payable like 50 rupees per month for the time period of in 80 years. Then they also, with the seeing the dedication and commitment of the residents to the projects, then the administration also acted well and made collaborations with the NGOs. And the good thing about this, that it's for this scheme was not uh, made out of the out at these center of the out of these cities periphery, like I just mentioned about earlier of the projects in the Punjab. This was made within the city, a super highway, and this was made up part of a township, Gulshan-e Shehbaz. So it was occupation of the plots was seen as the major success factor of this project. And the good thing that is design was flexible, because the open land was there, so you can make changes and modifications, going on the feedback which we are getting from the expert teams and everything. And they also made the operation of the payments and applications a very comfortable one by making it a one window affair. So you can see a flexible design. One unit is there, but it's a geometrical grid, conventional geometrical grid, and it was, you know, uh, giving them simpler. They were some basic plans were given to them, which were very similar, simple as compared to innovative, because they wanted, when you have nothing, you just want the shelter. So this is good. We should not be so much, uh, excited that we forget about the affordability factor of the applicants. So there were no restrictions to the size, form, and height and materials, as resident they were given open end to build their own houses according to their own needs. Because being famous architects and being famous planners and sitting in a air conditioned rooms, you are not never going to imagine the housing needs of a low income group or an urban group. The only restriction they have, their own budget. Based on their budget, they can choose the material. Sometimes wooden, cardboard shelter were made and based. Sometimes it was brick work and cement as well. So you can see some of them. You can see a different construction techniques. Some is the brick and some is the precast beams over there. So these were some of the models were given to them: a cardboard house, a kacha brick house, and then the paka brick house, and some kind of sketches of their outer look as well. But the good thing about this project that residents build themselves. So they have made saving from the cost that they were going to pay to the laborers who are going to construct their house. So here is the last, takeaways from my study and investigation of this low-income housing mechanism, that we must plan for inclusive and collaborative planning, and we must keep the beneficiaries at this central core of of such projects. Either it is coming from the public domain, the state, or from the social enterprises, or from the market. Then the shelters is one of the basic component, but facilities, other allied facilities are also very important. We must plan for them as well. Then it is very important that you appoint right people for the right job, and you consider their opinion as well. And the political agendas should be discouraged in the discourse of low income housing program. And we must target the right beneficiaries. We must figure out their down payment and give them longer tenure of mortgages. We must provide them efficient layout, and must collaborate with private companies, so that initiatives can become from there. And good construction quality must be given to them. And on the this is the beneficiary perspective, what they want from the government. And being the core players of the housing, as a housing providers, state, market, and civil society actors must work together, so that every low income group family can live in a appropriate and adequate housing in it. Thank you so much. If any questions, I am open to them.
Yes, ma'am. Really very good information. One question is here. How do you rate? One second. One second. One second.
Yeah.
How do you rate community participation for overall management in post occupancy at Safia Home and Ashina Housing? One is private initiative and other one is public. We received one question from one of our participants,
Okay.
madam.
So community participation was not much there because it was, a project that was led by the authorities. So, but the planning of community, that aspect was made, more prominent in case of Safia Homes as compared to Ashiana housing project, because like I mentioned that they given, park after every hundred, houses in every block. So, you are going to give space to the people who are actually living over there, because if you are living in a small unit, you don't have a lawn, you don't have a garden, you don't have, the outdoor space to enjoy yourself. So, uh, uh, and community participation and community environment was more prominent in case of Safia Homes. So maybe this is because it was led by a social enterprise and NGO who has more connectivity with the people, what they want. So yeah.
Any more question? Yes, really thank you, ma'am. Dr. Sana clearly explained about what are the main goal of sustainable development by giving the action to an end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure all the people enjoy peace and prosperity. She explained by using some models, and she explained by using so many photographs. It is easy to understand. Really thank you, ma'am, for your
Thank you.
giving an excellent
Thank
information.
you. I'm happy to be part of this group. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Now I invite the student participants. They are going to present the sustainable cities and community. We are having Tejas Thomas, Adirapal, Ahmed Sharif from Vimala College of Autonomous, Kannur University, India. They are going to explain. Their topic is about ecotourism and sustainable development of local community, an analysis on application of Goal 11 in Adirapalli Tourist Village, Kerala. Now you can able to present.
Good evening, all. Is my slides clear? Visible?
Wait. Okay, clear.
Yeah. As we've heard from both the speakers so far, sustainable cities and communities as the Sustainable Development Goal 11 has been well explained by the two resource persons so far. So let me come directly to the topic. We've made a study on ecotourism and sustainable development of local communities as an analysis of the application of our goal, like sustainable cities and communities, in the tourism sector in the Adirapalli village, Adirapalli tourist village of Kerala. Like as we all know, Sustainable Development Goal 11 mainly aims at making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So the goal has actually 10 targets, of which according to us can be achieved more easily through if we are developing it through the tourism sector. So we've studied sustainable tourism development. That is why we took a tourist village and analyzed how the tourism sector has helped in the acceleration of the formation of cities more sustainable and for the better development of communities. So sustainable tourism development would like tourism development in nowadays will not be as effective if sustainability is not brought into that thing. So sustainable tourism development would not just imply the development of tourist destination, but it really brings equitable, sustainable, and community-based development for improving the living standards of local communities, of all the local communities living in the area, in the tourist destination, and the areas around to the destination. And the present day tourism industry is completely focusing on sustainable development, or else the conventional tourism or mass tourism is so much degrading nowadays, just because it is completely replaced by the sustainable tourism, because the world has now seen the need and importance of sustainable development and sustainable tourism, so that it would help the communities more. So moving on, most of the nature-bound tourist destinations are located in areas where indigenous communities reside. Tourism activities in the areas with indigenous communities should be a source of income for the indigenous communities too. This idea would really help in achieving our goal, because if the tourism development increases the income of the local communities, it would make the cities more sustainable, and also it would develop the communities to be more sustainable. So the studies have shown that 15 to 20% of the income from tourist industry are accounted from mountain resources. Sorry for the spelling mistake in the slide. Anyhow, the cultural values and festivals of indigenous communities are also nowadays manifested for tourism purposes. So coming to a study was a quantitative study. We used telephonic interviews for collecting the data and all. It was just because due to the lockdown, and so we could not move directly to that area. So we've completed the study in the past 4 or 5 months. So we used telephonic interview, and the hypothesis of our study was that tourism development has benefited the local communities, and especially that has become a source of income and employment for the local communities of the area. Thereby, those areas have improved the infrastructure of the whole village. So Sustainable Development Goal 11's application in that area was effective according to our hypothesis. And this is the general view map of the study area. This was prepared by ArcGIS by ourselves. About the location of the study area, the exact location is 10.2 and 76.56 lat and launch. It lies in the Chalakudi River. Chalakudi River is a river in Kerala in the western ghats of Annamalai Hills, and it flows through the Peningalkuth Reservoir, Vazhachal and Adirapalli. These are local areas, names of local areas in Kerala itself. So about the villages, it lies in the Adirapalli Panchayat and Chalakudi Taluk of Thrissur district in Chalakudi River. So moving on, this is a specific map prepared using ArcGIS by ourselves of the study area. So this is a beautiful view of the study area of the Adirapalli waterfall around which the study was conducted. So tourism is an important factor in the nation's economy, but we cannot neglect the negative impacts of tourism, which include the degradation of biodiversity. So that was really a main focus for us. So that was really alerting the communities for the past 2 or 3 decades. That is when sustainable tourism arose as an idea, so that it would not only benefit tourism sector, but also help in improving the environment and local areas. So Kerala is a country which is rich in biodiversity, has a significant potential in area of ecotourism. In this study, we are focusing on the development of some local communities in Adirapalli by ecotourism. So the major things which we've brought into study was, one of the major thing was quality of life. So through the telephonic questionnaire, we could understand that 47.1% of the people are having a very good quality of life. They themselves admit their quality of life has improved a lot. So the respondents has a good quality of life, and they admit that tourism development has really improved and influenced their living standards. Then about the availability of items for basic needs such as medical needs, transport availability, education availability has really increased in the past 2 decades through the development of sustainable tourism. So for the development of tourism, government has put great efforts, and everything was put into higher standards, to the best standards possible, so that it has not just improved the tourism sector, but has also helped the people of the area, the local indigenous communities of the area, to be developed and to become sustainable for themselves. About the tourism development, the tourism development works are like better road connectivity, hospitals, recreational centers, water theme parks too. So all such sort of development activities have really accelerated in the area. So the Adirapalli has become a spot of really natural and other types of tourism too. So there are 2 water theme parks in the area, which also helps the people for a recreational activity for a day. So about the occupation in tourism sector, so just 17.6 people says that the tourism sector has not helped them by providing any kind of occupation, but the majority of the people of the area were benefited, and also has given various types of job opportunities for the people in Adirapalli. So restaurants were opened, hotels were opened, there are so many street vendings, and the local products were sold in the Adirapalli area. So all this has helped the local indigenous communities to become more sustainable and more economically healthy. And the authorities' control over pollution. The major issue which we've already discussed in the past days was one of pollution. One of the major issues was pollution. So even Adirapalli was facing a really great amount of pollution in the past decades. But as sustainable tourism has developed, and the authorities' control over pollution, authorities are making a great effort to control the pollution and to protect the environment in a great manner. The number of tourists are very high, and so the pollution was also so high, but now the development and the government are putting great efforts to control them, and the local self-governments. So the ecotourism is making a great profit out of it, but the local self-government has not benefited much economically. But the local self-government's involvement are to be developed more, so that they may also be able to develop economically and get a more benefit economically. And the positive impacts, according to majority of the respondents, it has the development, the sustainable tourism development has made a high positive impact on the tourism sector and on the local people of the area. So the respondent voted for high positive impact made by the tourism. We can come to the finding that ecotourism in Adirapalli has managed to reduce the negative impact and also succeeded in highlighting the positive impacts of the study. So about the negative impacts, majority of the people, as we already seen, most of the people are happy about the development. So 66.5% of the people are telling that the negative impacts are very high, very low for the tourism development. About sustainability of tourism, we've asked the respondents, is the tourism sector sustainable? So majority of the people are telling that the tourism sector is sustainable already, is completely sustainable already. But however, about 23.5 people are saying it is moderate, and also a very low percentage people are telling that the sustainability is yet to be achieved in the Adirapalli session. So about the suggestions, after conducting the whole study, we've brought up with certain suggestions so that the cities and communities of the area will be completely sustainable, and the sustainable development target 11 can be completely achieved. The first suggestion which we put forward is that the local self-government should get a greater involvement in tourism projects that would help to develop the service range and quality of service to the tourist. The quality of services can be furthermore improved. The involvement of local people in planning would help to reach out more areas in the village. The more areas in the village can be reached out through the involvement of local communities in planning. Though the majority of restaurants, resorts, etc. are owned by people outside Adirapalli. That is our next suggestion. Homestays, and promoting more homestays and more local culture and more chances for the tourists to involve and mingle with the local culture would really help the people. So not just the people, not just the tourists, but also the local government and the local communities. And vocational training centers, so such as hotel management, hospitality and tourism, can be started close to Adirapalli or in Adirapalli, so that the youth of the local or the local people of Adirapalli are getting more job opportunities and are also getting more chances to involve. And about the conclusions, Adirapalli, being an area with vast potential for sustainable development of communities, is associated, if associated more effectively, will be able to get more developed once the associated areas are more brought into action. So the relevance of these kind of studies increases as the employment and income generating opportunities are still very less for the local indigenous communities of Adirapalli. The development and regeneration of rural and remote areas is undoubtedly accelerated by the development of tourism areas. The ecotourism activities could generate a good number of employment opportunities for the local and indigenous people. And as cited by Hinch in 2001, it is a necessity that an important share of the economic benefits of tourism should go to the indigenous communities. Thank you. This is all for our study. Thank you.
Okay, really very interesting one. Thank you, Tejas. You gave a very clear information and you did research in that. Any question from the audience? We received only great presentation. Okay, any more question? Okay, there is no more question. That means sustainable development, that is cities and community, means there are 4 ways that we can make the city healthier and more sustainable. The first one is about promoting urban agriculture, encouraging health diet, reducing managing food waste, boosting green spaces for healthier environment and improved lifestyle, reconnecting the cities with rural area. This is the main goal. So as we are conducting this program, I'm really thank the organizer for conducting a very useful goal related to sustainable development. Actually, it is mainly concentrated on 17 sustainable development goal established by United Nations General Assembly. And here today we explain about goal number 11. It's about make cities including safe, resilient and sustainable. Today we are having 3 eminent person, one from Dr. Sana, Dr. Rajkumar. Sir, he explained each and everything. And one more research paper also discussed about by Tejas, creating about what about the sustainable development, and they prepared a very good conclusion related to that. Once again, I thank each and everyone, all the speaker on behalf of Tradepreneur. Thank you once again. We will meet you in another goal number 12 on the same platform tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Be safe.
Yes, thank you very much, Leena, and thank you very much, Professor Dr. Rajkumar Singh and Dr. Sanna. You both have given a very informative session, and Professor Rajkumar sir has also focused on the culture of India and also explained about the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa time. And that was he gave us a remember of the history. We have studied in the history that there was a Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. So thank you very much, Professor Rajkumar sir. You have given lot of information. You have highlighted lot of things about the goal 11. Even the student of Kerala, he has did a very good presentation and very good research he has done and given a lot of information. So thanks to him also. And Sana has also given a lot of information related with the sustainable goal. As the world's population is constantly increasing, to accommodate everyone, we need build modern sustainable city. Basically, the goal of 11 is to action, explore the targets. Behind of this is sustainable cities and communities. And why there is a need of sustainable cities? Because the population is growing constantly and everybody want to live, everybody want accommodation for them. The infrastructure should be changed and we need to build modern sustainable cities. In 2015 in India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has took the task for the smart cities and it has been launched by the Prime Minister on 25th June 2015. The main objective of this mission is to promote cities that provides poor infrastructure, clean and sustainable environment, and give a decent quality of life to their citizens through the applicable of smart solutions. And basically, the mission is to drive economic growth and improve quality of life through comprehensive work on social, economic, physical, institutional pillar of city. So these all things has been focused and this was the target to make the smart cities in India. The focus is on sustainable development and inclusive development by creation of a applicable and model which acts as lighthouses to other aspiring cities. 100 cities has been selected to be developed as a smart cities through a two-stage of the competition. So behind of this mission, the central has sponsored lot of schemes. Central government is going to give a financial support to around 48,000 crore over 5 years. And on average, if we see that the government is focusing on this sustainable development cities and he is trying to give a good quality and equal amount on a matching basis is to be proved by the state of ULB. Additional resources are the raised through conveys by ULB and their own fronts and grants. So the goal 11 behind is the world population get accommodation and behind that to make cities and communities sustainable. We all have to take the action about behind this. And the future planning is to be a smart cities and each and every country is following this to make it. Due to COVID-19, it has been hit and the pandemic has hit these challenges. It has whistled Asia remain ahead of curve legacy cities and now feeling that the pressure to upgrade ages infrastructure. The COVID-19 pandemic maintaining sustainability and commitments resources constraints and continue urban growth. A new case for investment. It has never been more crucial to make cities smarter, more efficient, and sustainability for their residents. So this is the task has been taken from Prime Minister Narendra Modi in India, and the UN has took this task in the goal 11 to give the sustainability cities and communities so they can be live happily and good, healthy, wealthy, and with the prosperity. So, and last, my vote of thanks to all the participants. My big thanks to our speakers, those who have given their very important time. And I hope that students are enjoying very well. Daily, I am seeing that the attendance of the students are going normal. 72, 73 students are here, and students are trying to get information and knowledge. My big thanks to the students that they are taking very good interest in this program, and hope that they will learn and they will get all the informations about the sustainable goals and why and what is the focus and what is the mission of these goals. They will learn this. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lina. Thank you, Ashina. Thank you, Professor Burahan. Thank you, Professor Yogesh Chabra. Thank you, entire team, technical team, and Mr. Saurabh, and all other participants, those who have attended this program. Thank you very much. We will meet tomorrow, same time here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.